All right, guys, welcome. How's it going?
It's going good, Nick. How you doing?
Great, great. I got Chris and Eric Martinez with me, also known as the Dynamic Duo. They're brothers, business partners, and just all around awesome guys. I know we met a couple months ago at a fitness conference, and I was just kind of taken away by your guys' passion for health and wellness, and I really want to make sure we got you on here. So thanks for joining us and being on the Self Care Summit.
Yeah, no, likewise. Thank you, for letting us come on and share some wisdom. And I think we all got something kind of related. We all got some good eyebrows going, right?
That's kind of like step number one to being a successful online business coach. I believe you got to have good eyebrows.
Exactly.
And then you and I got the beard game going on strong.
Yeah, that's step two.
Yeah, but we're excited, Nick, to just, share our story, share some of our wisdom, and just, give a lot of value to your listeners. So thank you again for having us.
Awesome, guys. Cool. Let me go ahead and just read your bio real quick for everybody, and then we'll kind of get going from there. I'm just going to do kind of an abridged version. So Chris and Eric Martinez, also known as the Dynamic Duo, operate a world-class online fitness and lifestyle company by the name of Dynamic Duo Training. They are business coaches that own the Dynamic Inner Circle, where they help fitness enthusiasts build and grow their online coaching businesses, along with being #1 international best-selling authors and speakers. And one thing I love about your guys' bio is that you put on here that you practice what you preach, and that's to live a dynamic lifestyle, which for you guys means being full of life, health, wealth, love, and happiness, and never to be static or complacent. I think that's kind of the main reason I wanted you guys on here, because that's the vibe I totally get for both of you, especially when you're together. So I really want to just kind of get you guys involved, because I know that's big for me, and I think that's big for you guys and a lot of other people. So we're going to take a minute, kind of introduce who each of you are, and so we can kind of put a name to the twins.
I'll let Big Bro take it away since he's a minute older.
See, the older brother has to do take the initiative all the time. So I am Eric Martinez. This is my twin brother, Chris Martinez. So we are identical twins. So yeah, we're full, blooded entrepreneurs. We've been doing this for the last 8 years, just in the trenches with fitness. We've kind of transitioned more over to fitness business coaching, to personal trainers, gym owners, and fitness enthusiasts, because we've had a ton of mentors, a ton of experience with our business, growing a successful six-figure online fitness coaching business. And now it's kind of our due diligence to teach that back and just show people how to play bigger in life and get out of that scarce mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Eric, you have anything you want to add about yourself?
If I go a little bit more back, we can go a little bit deeper into like our story. I think what kind of got us here was 18, when we were 18, about maybe 16 years ago, about maybe 15 years ago, we actually lost our father to a car accident 3 days before Christmas, and we were seniors in high school. So that led us down a really dark path for about 6 years. And we call it hell, because that's what it felt like. We were in hell for 6 years. We faced seeing our mother, she turned to alcoholism, antidepressants. We lost our grandmother to cancer 3 months after we lost our father. So our whole family kind of crumbled, and we really didn't have anybody else to depend on besides ourselves, So once we saw that light at the end of the tunnel, we had our first mentor, Dr. Lane Norton, and he's an online fitness coach as well too. So if it wasn't for him, I don't think we would be here, because that's kind of where it, sparked everything that we're doing. And ever since, we've kind of just kept our foot on the gas pedal, just building. And, it's a double-edged sword, because in a way it's not that good, because we've kind of put our head down and suppressed our anger and all of everything that was going on with us, which we should have dealt with. And that was dealing with it, just building, grinding, the next thing. But now what we're doing is we've actually come to peace with everything that we've been through, and we're helping people out. And that's why we're helping them expand their lifestyles as well too.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And I interviewed Pat Rigsby a week ago, and something, I think you guys know him, and something he touched on was we got, trying to move away from that grinding mentality that a lot of us entrepreneurs get put into. And just a lot of people out there that be watching too. So it's cool to hear you guys say that too, of like, man, it's important to slow down, and it's important to kind of take care of ourselves. So awesome. Cool, guys. Why don't you tell me kind of, how you got into the wellness industry, and kind of how you.
Hey, Nick.
Lost you guys there.
Was it on our end or yours?
I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Okay. Where'd you guys lose me at?
We just stopped on just when Chris got done telling our story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was saying that, I interviewed Pat Rigsby last week, and it was pretty cool. And he said something similar to you guys of like, I think it's time we all realize that it's not about always grinding, and it's not always about doing more work, and that it's about taking care of ourselves and slowing down too. So it's cool to hear you guys start to say the same thing that him and I talked about. So how'd you guys get into a wellness career? I mean, how'd you go from being in hell to being wellness entrepreneurs and showing other people and leading other people into wellness and happier lifestyles? How'd you guys make that shift?
Yeah, no, great question. So I think that the way we got into wellness was just because, when we lost our father, the only way we kind of were able to alleviate that pain and anger was in the weight room. That was really our outlet to get away and escape. So we got really fascinated just by weight training, just, body compositional changes, the whole science behind it. So that's when we started getting our, personal training certifications, our nutrition certifications. And that's when we hired mentors to just, further our education and pretty much just master that skill set of coaching and being, like the best fitness coaches and practitioners that we possibly can be. So that's what got us into the fitness realm of things. And then going kind of in transitioning to the fitness business world was just, playing bigger, taking bigger leaps of faith and joining high-level masterminds, just kind of thinking outside of the box and investing $25,000 in, business masterminds, personal branding coaching days, advertising, marketing, coaches. So that's what really kind of expanded our knowledge and our skill set there to where now we're just like pretty much transitioning and teaching that all back within our dynamic inner circle, whether that's through our courses, through our one-to-one coaching days, or our workshops that we teach here in Los Angeles.
Nice. And like, where's that passion come from though? Like, where's that piece? Eric, can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, I think where that passion comes from is, we were personal trainers for 3 years. So we were actually in the trenches, personal trainers, and we know where the personal trainer mindset is. It's a very scarce mindset to where they have a lot of self-limiting beliefs to where they only think that they can only be a personal trainer. And, they don't want to do sales. They don't want to do marketing. They don't want to expand. They don't want to sit there and take risks. And we were like that. So we knew kind of what those self-limiting beliefs were. We knew how that inhibited us from growing, and going forward as well too. So we wanted to just pay it back, because we lost so much money, so much time with that type of mindset. So we know now, from the mentorships, the experience, everything like that, that we can give this back and be able to teach, these fitness enthusiasts, these fit pros, how to sit there and develop a growth mindset, how to break those belief barriers, and how to sit there and just do things that you never thought possible.
And not only that, just to add, the way we can teach them is what I like saying is, building a business around your ideal lifestyle, right? Through the 4 pillars of life, the good life, health, wealth, love, and happiness. And that's why we're so big on those pillars, just because that's the way we were taught by our mentors to build our business. And at the end of the day, if you really think about that, if you don't have your health, you're not going to be able to have a long-term sustainable business or do anything for the fact of the matter. If you don't have any type of wealth that you're trying to go after creating, whether you're giving back, whether you're chasing more experiences, more travel, doing something for a bigger cause, then you're probably not going to have a really good, whole life journey within entrepreneurism. If you don't have love, whether that's a significant other or even self-love, love yourself, you can't sit there and love others. And then happiness, right? We're all chasing some sort of happiness, joy, and daily fulfillment, right? So you can't be going through the motions building a business just for the wrong reasons and, just chase money, or else you're going to be very unhappy.
Yeah, totally. And that's kind of what we put on this summit, is to start this conversation around, it's not about having a ton of money and having no fun and no love and no happiness, because then you're poor. It's cool. I think entrepreneurs are really starting to lead this mindset, of, hey, like you can have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't have to be this thing where you show up to work and you hate your job and you're miserable. It's like, no, there's tools. And the ones that entrepreneurs are teaching, you can apply to, working in the corporate world. That's the first book I read about that was the 4-Hour Work Week. I'm sure you guys have that. It's such a great resource. Like, oh, I can work and I can also not be miserable. Like,
it's funny you mentioned that too, because like I said, we've been in really high level masterminds with like people that are making 7-8 figures, right? And you could just tell they're very unhappy, that there's something missing. So it just goes to show that you can have all the money in the world, all the success, all the wealth, but it does not mean at the end of the day that you're going to be happy.
No, they're not. They don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Yeah,
I've been broke and happy, and that's not too bad. It's not that bad.
It's like the only way from that type of situation is up. So you have to just
yeah. And then, I've had money and been unhappy, and that's even worse because then you're confused. It's like, I was told I'm supposed to be happy, So what do you guys do for self-care? I mean, I know you guys work out and take care of yourselves, and I'm sure it's important. So what are kind of your tips for self-care that you guys employ?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start off with two things that are a little bit outside the scope of working out and stuff like that. But we always implement a morning routine, right? So we have 60 minutes where that's our me time, to where we're priming our mindsets, we're taking care of ourselves, whether that's reading, listening to a podcast, audiobook, watching a video. And after that, we have a wind down routine. So 8 o'clock, we shut it down. That's a non-negotiable. Don't work past that hour, because we always used to work past 10 or 11 and it would sacrifice our sleep, and then we would be unhappy. So we have a wind down routine to where we sit there and shut it off at 8 o'clock. That's our time to watch a Netflix show, or just one little small reward for the day, the days of work, right? And then, outside of that, we'll do 4 days a week where we'll go to the gym. We'll do some resistance training because we love that. And then another thing we started incorporating was boxing. So if you haven't done boxing, man, that is an awesome workout, especially for an entrepreneur, because the mindset type of stuff, right? The mental push in boxing. So we've been doing that, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So that's kind of what we do for self-care.
Okay. And then let me ask you real quick. Let me ask you about that wind down routine.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. So that's 8 o'clock comes, hard stop, cell phones down, emails off. Can you talk just a little more about that? I mean, I'm going to have to steal this tip, I'm sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Just like you said, just a hard stop, shut everything down. And then it's just about being present, whether you have a significant other, whether you're just, doing something else, but for us, what we do is we just go for a walk to clear our mind completely. Right after that, and then we do a static stretch. We'll go take a shower. We'll eat a meal. We'll do something as far as watching a movie, watching a show, so we can get our minds completely off business. Because I've seen too many people where they'll watch something to where it's business related, or the book to where it's business related, and then it just gets your mind spinning again, right? So then it leads into your sleep. So for us, it's more kind of how do we shut our brains off and just get away from all that noise that we've been facing throughout the day with entrepreneurism.
I love it. And then even if you're going to read something or watch something, there's a cutoff there too. It's not I'm going to go pick up the 4-hour work week, or I'm not going to go pick up a book about, programming if I'm a programmer. It's cut off that whole part of the brain and let it almost rest and let it recover, sounding like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just being very diligent with just, a good sleep cycle, to where hey, you're going to sleep at 10 o'clock, you're waking up at 5 or 6, and you're just repeating that every single day, just being diligent, making it a habit.
Awesome. And Chris, what about you? Anything to add?
Yeah, so for me, pretty much I've been just experimenting more with creating space for myself. And when I say creating space for myself, I mean just, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole shebang. Just because, again, if we don't create space for ourselves, all we do is kind of go through the motions. It's a vicious cycle of that hamster wheel, just nonstop, right? Where we're just grinding, and we don't have time to think, right? So if we're going through those motions and then being in that hamster wheel, all of our creative juices start getting shut down. Mm-hmm. So that's why we need to sit there and create more space for ourselves. And what I mean by that is, so for example, is I'll go and pretty much just, go somewhere for the entire day, whether that's go to a 2-hour drive, just so I don't have to be in my normal environment, to where I can actually think and just, process everything that's going on emotionally, physically, spiritually. I could sit there and go for a weekend and rent a hotel somewhere, just to where it's hey, I'm not in my normal, habitat in my room, my living room, all that stuff. Yeah. I'm just creating space somewhere else so I can think a little bit differently. So those are some examples that I use, but that's something that's just been working out very well for me because I do get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'll give you one more really good practical step on creating space. We got this from one of our mentors too, and he said at least once a week, you guys, you need to sit there and take one full day off, whether that's Saturday or Sunday, okay? Mm-hmm. Every single month, you should take a weekend off. Mm-hmm. And every single quarter, you should take an entire week off. So I thought that was really, really good. Creating space,
Yeah. And that's, that's, you're not saying take 3 days off. You're not saying take a month, a year. It's break it up into, let's call it even digestible pieces.
Yeah.
I could do a day. Okay. I could do a weekend. I can do a week. Yeah. That's because other people are, I hear people saying, I can't take that much time off, right? There's no way I can go from not taking time off to taking a bunch. I've come up with my best ideas while being on vacation. That's how my brother and I came up with the idea to open our gym last year. We were on a beach in Cuba. And it's like, because what you say, Chris, like your mind thinks differently when you put yourself in a different space.
Absolutely.
And when you give it more space. So I think that's a master tip, guys. Really think it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. So why don't we dive into kind of the topic, the 4 pillars of the good life. And I know you also refer to as, the 4 pillars of health and wellness. So tell me about that. Let's break it down and kind of talk about your guys' approach to the 4 pillars.
Yeah. So again, that kind of comes with the approach of living a dynamic lifestyle, just, not being static, just aiming to be 1% better in all areas of life. And I'm a big proponent too on core values, right? So I advocate that to your listeners, to anybody to, take, at least a couple hours, do a brain dump on what your core values are as a person, right? And that will bring so much to the table, and it'll bring a lot more clarity, for your vision going forward. So, for us, we kind of came up with that concept of the 4 pillars through one of our mentors. And then we actually wrote about it in our book, The New Era of Fitness, just because, again, it ties into everything. It doesn't matter kind of like what expertise you're in. I mean, those 4 pillars are those 4 pillars: health, wealth, love, and happiness. And I always put health at the forefront because, again, health overrules everything. If you're not healthy, you're just going to be, always struggling through life. You're going to be bedridden. You're going to be spending a lot of money on hospital bills. So health is everything. It overrules everything. So that's why we're just a big proponent on these 4 pillars of life, just because, if you can master, I don't want to say master because it's very hard to master them. I think that if you can find a good balance between health, wealth, love, and happiness, then you're going to live just that more purposeful, joyful, and a fulfilled life going forward. You really are.
Yeah. So in terms of health, let's drill down into there. What is that? I know it means something different for all of us. What does it mean for you guys when you say health?
Yeah. So when I say health, when we talk about the 4 pillars, we're talking about physical and mental health. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will be like, okay, well, I got the physical health down, and I'm in shape, and I work out, and this and that, and that's great, but what about the mental health though? Mm-hmm. What about the 6-pack in your brain? And that's a lot of things that people don't really realize. They're always chasing kind of like the exterior part, the body composition changes, putting that at a pedestal. Instead, they should be having that only just as a part of their health. They should also have the mental side of it too, because as an entrepreneur, Nick, I mean, it's just, man, if you don't have your mental health, it can be a huge mind F. You know what I mean? So you have to be mentally strong. You have to be mentally fit, to be able to do that. That's why we always, advocate mental and physical health as well too.
Yeah, and I love how the conversation is starting to go there now, even amongst guys. Where I don't think 5 years, 10 years ago that was happening. It was like, yeah, I'm strong physically. I'm sure you guys know from training high level clients, they always have something in common. Like the way they think is just different. They're tough. They're optimistic. They figure out how to get things done. Have you noticed anything like that? Any kind of commonalities in people's mental health and related to their wealth?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a good example of that is too, because we work with a lot of fitness coaches and stuff, and we were, actual practitioners, in the trenches, and you get so busy worrying about everybody else and serving your clients to where you forget about your happiness and your mental health, right? It's like you're so worried about just what they're going through and to, help them out, to where it's like, man, what about me? And it's just that's not healthy. It's just really, really bad. And it can become a very vicious cycle going forward.
Totally. Yeah. Awesome. How about in terms of the wealth? What's that mean to you guys?
So for wealth, I like telling people wealth can mean a lot of different things, and it really just depends on what it is that you're chasing in that form of wealth. So it could be, creating, more finances, more financial freedom for yourself. It could be creating more experiences, more traveling. It could be even more of like a philanthropy type of approach where you're giving back for a charity, making your money matter. So that's what I like to kind of, diving into when I'm talking about wealth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then how about love? I mean, I love that. Love, big fan. And then you guys even talked about self-love, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. And I think one of you said, if I don't love myself, then how can I love other people? Exactly. How do you guys approach love, and how do you teach that? What does that look like?
Yeah. So then with love, I'm a big proponent on self-love because I struggle with this too, and I've struggled with being vulnerable, being empathetic, and it's something I'm working on, and it's very tough to master, especially too when, a lot of us are brought up in, households where our parents don't really teach that, right? Or they don't teach that in the school system. So thus the carryover to life is just, it's a struggle, to be vulnerable and empathetic. But now in today's era, I feel like that we're in an interactive marketing world, right? To where it's like we're buying people. We want to make connections, to where it's like we have to show empathy. We have to be vulnerable. So that starts off with your day, looking in the mirror every single day, telling yourself, I am enough. I have value to offer the world. It's like, I do love myself. Yeah, I'm aiming to be better, but that's okay. I'm a work in progress, and that's fine. And I think a lot of people don't sit there and approach their day like that, right? So I think if we can create more self-love, the love we're going to give to other people going forward, and the way we're going to be able to serve other people, I mean, it's going to be amazing, and if we talk about just like love with like, significant others and stuff, I mean, if that's something you're seeking, I think we're all seeking to be in love with a significant other, right? So.
And a good little tip for the audience with love is pick up the book, The 5 Love Languages.
5 love language. I've never met anyone that's read that. Everyone always like quotes it and talks about it, but I'm like, have you read that book?
Have you guys read good book? Yeah, because once you know like what your 1 or 2 like love languages are, I mean, from there, man, you just kind of express that to the significant other, and they need to fulfill that love tank.
Yeah. My wife and I have a joke. She'll do something that she like bothers the crap out of me, and she's like, "This is how I give love."
Yeah.
Like, that's not how I receive it. What's going on here? It's a great book. Yeah. I'll try to actually read it this time instead of
absolutely.
Yeah. Eric, anything else for you around love? I mean, Chris, I love what you said about just wake up and believe that you're enough, and that we're work in progress, and that we're fine. We're perfect how we are. We don't need to constantly make ourselves better in order to love ourselves. I think that's just like, that's sage advice, just to believe that we're enough. Eric, do you have anything else for? You seem more like the lover. You seem more like the softer of the 2 brothers, man. So
this guy's the lover right here, man. But just to add to that, like you said, I think it's really good what he said about that, because especially in today's society with so much things going on, so many shiny objects, so much comparison, so much like pressure, a lot of people just beat the shit out of themselves. They're always constantly judging themselves and shaming themselves and guilting themselves. And one of my mentors told me, he said, where there's judgment, there is no growth.
There's no room for growth.
There's no room for growth. And when you just really think about that, right? You constantly judge yourself, beat the shit out of yourself.
Yeah.
You can't grow because you're so blinded by it, So in turn, you want to sit there and be able to say that I do have value. I can make the world a better place. I do have something to offer here, instead of sitting there and beating yourself up, because it does no good at the end of the day. But then on the flip side, I do believe in being a little bit hard on yourself in phases in life, because you cannot just sit there and coast and just be all like happy, like, lackadaisical, because then that leads a little bit to complacency. So you got to just know kind of like time and place, when to kind of turn off turn it on and turn it off with that phase of being a little bit hard on yourself as well too.
Yeah. Any master tips on love? I mean, it's almost sounded like you guys might use affirmations, or you might use some kind of mantra or anything like that. What any tip on that, on how to increase the self-love?
I think that the best one would be is just, I like the words of affirmation. So maybe you could do like, I'm a big fan of doing brain dumps, like whether that's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe you could just sit down, do a brain dump on a white piece of paper, and just say all the good qualities about yourself, what you have to offer people, just how do I show more compassion to people? And, that might be something you can put on the wall, or just somewhere as a reminder every morning to program your subconscious to think, okay, I need to love myself a little bit more. I don't have to beat myself up. I don't have to start off this day being negative. Let's be a little bit more abundant.
Yeah. And the other thing you can do is just go back like into your past and your experiences, right? Where was it that this kind of all started to where you weren't seeking that love or that validation, right? So maybe it was with your parents. Maybe it was specifically with your mom, specifically with your dad. Maybe there was a trauma or an experience that caused you to be able to be like this right now. Because if you always look back in the past and your past experiences, that usually is kind of like why you are the way you are, like presently, and it's just something that you have to work on, just like anything else.
Totally. I mean, most of us are operating present moment from past patterning and habits. And then we wonder like, well, why is my life not working out? It's like, well, keep doing the same things that we're holding us back. Right. Yeah. And I think I can hear in talking to you guys that you work on the mental health piece. Like that's not, you're walking the walk. And again, I think it's so cool to get guys and, masculine guys in a room and talk about mental health, love. I really think it's cutting edge to a large degree. I'm really excited to see where the fitness industry is evolving. It's not just the physical body that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that, man, because it takes time, and it's hard to do that, because as men, we're supposed to be macho. We're supposed to have our ego. We can't sit there and be vulnerable. It's just, nope, that's not the way it should be,
Totally. And you learn it, right? It's just like training in the gym. There's no difference. It's something you practice and you suck at it first and you get better at it, right? And then keep growing your capacity.
Just reps and sets, baby.
That's it. Reps and sets of self-love. That should be a t-shirt. Awesome. And so the last thing, guys, on the fourth pillar of happiness, that's going to be different for all of us. My happiness is going to be different from Chris's, different from Eric's. Eric, for you, what breaks down happiness for you?
Yeah, I mean, with happiness too, like it's just really a byproduct of all the other three pillars, with health, love, and wealth, So if you got all of those three pillars down, as a byproduct, your happiness will increase, And like Eric said, it's never going to be a point to where you're going to master all these pillars, but it is a point to where you can sit there and balance on them and kind of work at them to get 1% better at each one of those pillars,
Yeah, so it's almost like an aggregate of your life, right? And it's like, I'm doing well with my love, I'm doing well with my health, I'm doing well with my wealth. It's like, oh, okay, now that's going to all feed into my happiness bank account or whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one thing we do too with like our inner circle students, where we have them come here to LA for a coaching day. Like we'll do the 4 pillars and we'll ask them, be vulnerable right now. This isn't going anywhere else. It's just us. What area do you need actually to work on in these 4 pillars of life? And whatever area it is, it just kind of opens their eyes on shit. Well, I need to give my wife maybe more love. I need to give myself more love. I need to go travel more. I need to make more money. You know what I mean? So it's just a nice eye opener to kind of see where you're at in life and what you need to really work on going forward.
Yeah. I mean, writing it down on a piece of paper. And what I've seen with my coaching clients, you guys tell me if you've seen this, is like, if they identify something in this corner, let's say in the wealth, right? It usually is showing up in the love, in the happiness, in the self-worth piece. Have you guys found that there's correlations in there and all these different pillars?
Yeah.
Chris, how about you? What's kind of the aggregate of the health of the happiness for you and how you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's just, you gotta have to really just kind of just think like, what is it every day when you wake up? What is it that you're kind of looking forward to doing, right? What is going to make you the most fulfilled? Where are you going to have that ambition to go after? And I'm a big proponent on writing things down, like you just mentioned. So it's like, write down, like 5 things that make you truly happy in your life, right? Maybe that's going to the gym. Maybe that's spending time with somebody. Maybe that's going to the movies. For me, what makes me happy is traveling. I love traveling and experiencing different cultures, different places, because it makes me more abundant. It gets my creative juices flowing. Then I can sit there and be like, okay, I can apply this somewhere. I'm grateful for this. Maybe I see this differently now. So I think you just have to really figure out what is it in your life and as a person that makes you truly happy on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm. And, you guys have said it a couple of times in different ways. You've talked about 2 different things. You talked about scarcity and abundance. And I know those are kind of hot words that are out there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's something people actually explain. Would you mind kind of diving into that? And because they play off of each other, their mindsets. So would you guys maybe mind diving into that as like a bonus tip here on?
I'll talk about the scarcity. So like with the scarcity, I think it does travel back to, being raised by our parents or our school system or just our cultures, and it's just different from different cultures and schools and parenting and all that stuff. But a lot of it does stem from that. And that's where that scarcity mindset comes from, to where, you got to play it safe in life. You can't sit and roll the dice. You can't take a lot of risk, because we're taught to go through school. We're taught to go to college. We're taught to buy a house. We're taught to buy a car, have a family. I'm not saying any of that's wrong, to each their own, but that's what we're taught, is pretty much like that cookie cutter system. And that's playing it safe. So whenever you think about doing something else, of course people freak out and they're like, oh, heck no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take a risk. I'm not going to make this big investment because I'm not going to get an ROI. It's outside of my norms. I'm going outside of the playing it safe zone, So yeah. That's the whole scarcity mindset that I see. And, I don't know where it's going forward with everything, especially with the internet these days, but that's something I like helping my students with, because I know what it's like being in that scarce mindset. I went to college. I went from high school to college. I got a degree. I went and got a job. I didn't like my job, and I was playing it safe in that scarce mindset. And it wasn't until I invested in myself and the masterminds, the coaches, to break those belief barriers, So I want to help other people do that as well.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. And then Chris, how about the abundance piece? How does that kind of play off of it, and how do they kind of work together? And abundance is a way to get over scarcity, but what do you have to add on that?
Yeah, and I want to use kind of an abundance in a different context. So I want to kind of use it in the context of fitness. So for me, let's say that you know, I try to be abundant every single day, right? With my health, just because I am healthy. I can open up my eyes. I can sit there and have the ability to go to the gym, improve my body composition, improve my health. There's a lot of people out there in the world that cannot do that because of their, you know, physical limitations, deformities, diseases that they're, you know, they don't have any control of. And it's freaking sad. It really is, man. So when you think about that, how blessed you are to just wake up every day, to just open up your eyes, go to the gym, go for a walk, go pick up a weight, you know, improve yourself. It's like that pretty much just puts it into perspective. And I'm like, okay, shut up, Eric. You know, like if something's going on, I'm like, there's so many people that have it worse out there. So that's why I tell people, you know, when they work with me, if it's in a fitness context, I'm like, that's right there, the example I use. I'm like, look at other people that wish they can just get out of bed and go do what you do, but yet you're complaining and you don't want to go do the work. So that's where I think just abundance is really key. If I kept it in the context of fitness, but you know, when it comes to the scarcity mindset, I think that, you know, like Chris said, we're all kind of, we all have that scarce mindset, right? But if we're abundant every day and we wake up and appreciate those small little things that we have around us, what we've accomplished, and give ourselves more credit, then I think that will overlap that scarcity going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. And it's, you know, the clients they're complaining because they can't squat 200 pounds. It's like,
yeah,
but you're strong, you can walk. It's like, look, yeah, you know, look, there's a great line from Tony Robbins. He says, you know, what is it? Exchange your expectation with appreciation.
Yep. Oh, I love that.
I love that one. Cause it's just like, you're right, man. Like, look how much we have, look how much we've got access to, instead of like, you know, I'm expecting this, or I'm trying to match my life to someone else's life. And, it's a great line.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Anything else to add kind of before we wrap it up, or anything else you can tell us about kind of any offers you got, or how we get in contact with you, either via website, or I know you guys have a book out there, so feel free to share and kind of talk about any of those things you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one of my closing like kind of statements I want to just kind of give to the listeners is just always play big, you know, play bigger in life. You know, the worst thing for me, what I fear most is, you know, being mediocre. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you have to understand that in this life that we're given, right, we are the narrators of our own book. And you can't let anybody else be the narrator of your story, of your journey. You're the only one that's writing this book. You're the one writing every page, every sentence, every chapter. And if you look at it like that and approach your life of living a life worth telling a story about, as opposed to just going through the motions, man, you're going to play so much bigger in life going forward.
Love it. Love it. Be the narrator. That's stealing that too.
Man, how am I supposed to top that?
I don't know if you can, but you're enough, you know, so.
I'll let Eric close it with that. That was really strong. But no, if you guys are interested in getting in contact with us, you know, if you're a gym owner, fitness enthusiast, Fit Pro, check us out, Dynamic Duo Training /FitBiz, and we have a lot of resources on there for people like that. And then if you guys want to pick up a copy of our book, it's the New Era of Fitness.com. So you can find us there, and all other social media handles, Chris and Eric Martinez.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate getting a couple bros together to talk about self-care and self-love and starting to change that narrative. You know, that is our life and is the future of health and wellness where we're taking things. So really appreciate your time and your energy. And I know I got a ton of value just from talking to you guys for 30 minutes. So really appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch and keep connecting up.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks again for having us, man. I love what you're doing.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. Virtual fist pump. Later, man.